Gentlemen, it's an honor and privilege to speak with you both. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's interesting because when I do interviews on Popternative, I really do talk about the making of things, the behind the scenes. And Eugenio, this is, a show about making a movie, and I find that interesting. Does the mindset kind of change about that, where it's like, do you think a lot about behind the scenes while you're making it, or is that kind of different compared to other things you're working on?
No, this was really a special. It was a movie inside a series. It was very complex. Every single day we had tons of people around that we have to dress and that we have to organize, because we have the fake crew and the real crew. So it was double at everything. Yeah. So it was really complicated, but we wanted to get the core of the comedy, of what happened back then, and all the drama that was behind the scenes, and I think we did it.
I loved it, absolutely. And Jason, so much happens before you go to camera on a project. So from an acting and storyteller perspective, you can see it as two journeys, right? Before filming something and after filming something, or does it feel like one big journey with multiple steps? I'm curious about that.
It depends what aspect you're a part of. Yeah. For an actor walking onto a show, you think, it all begins now when I show up. But having been on all sides of it, the process of being ready for that actor to step in front of that camera, that's where the true work does. Hitchcock used to say by the time he was filming the movie, he was bored with it already. He had already figured it all out. He knew what it was going to look like. He had edited it in his mind. And he was just sort of using actors as puppets to get what he already knew he was going to get. That's an extreme version of that. But what was amazing about his production is it is a big complex, and I can only imagine. I got a very shuddered sense of it because I was the last thing they did after the strike. But all the moving parts of the period and the storytelling and the different film stocks, the different styles of lighting, the replicating sets and costumes, and I mean, just so many moving pieces that the pre-production on it had to be madness before that camera ever started rolling. And then to make it look effortless once the camera starts rolling is extraordinary.
We replied the castle, by the way. Wow. If you see the original film from 1931 with Bela Lugosi, is exactly the same castle. We had the plans and everything.
Absolutely. No, it just, the pace of it, I love it too. It just shows everyone's so busy all the time. That's what it is. It's interesting because it is spooky season, right? And this is about vampires in a lot of ways. You're making a vampire film. And I'm just wondering if you think about like the popularity of a lot of that kind of like horror movie, kind of vampires, zombies, like it's getting bigger and bigger. It's always been around. But do you ever think about that? Like they're making a production about a vampire movie at a time when there's a big kind of appetite for it, so to speak?
Well, yes, but I thought about it, but later. Yeah. The principal reason why I did this, it was because I found it really interesting that I never heard about it. I was like, why did I never heard about this Spanish version of Dracula? And then I learned that it was because they destroyed all the copies. They didn't want any comparisons between the English version and the Spanish version. Wow,
yeah. Well, that's the best part about storytelling these days, right? Like the stories that weren't told are finally getting told, right? Is that one of your favorite things about storytelling?
Yeah, and in this case, it's not only the story of, I think the average person would be shocked to know that there was a Spanish language version of Dracula. But what's even more, as I started watching the episodes, what you begin to understand, and I talked about it in one other interview, there was a community of Latino actors in Hollywood during this period. Nobody got to see what they could do. They were relegated to these bit roles and minor roles and really cliche roles that were never integral to a story, with very few exceptions. And then Laemmle and Universal brought together this collection of amazing Spanish-speaking actors and created something that is arguably better than the English language version. So to celebrate the fact that these cultures and these artists were among us and just never got their day in the sun, so to speak, for a Dracula movie, is remarkable.
I can't wait for people to see LEGARON DE NOCHE. They came at night. Gentlemen, it was an honor and privilege to speak with you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.